X-ray is this green beam, 100 billion times stronger than any hospital X-ray.
Have you ever found yourself puzzled by a messy grocery list, struggling to read something as simple as carrots or potatoes?
This is what you would hope to see in the Herculaneum scrolls.
What if artificial intelligence could solve that problem? Not just for grocery lists, but for ancient handwritten manuscripts from across history.
He knew imaging technology could only reveal a jumble of letters like this.
Join us as we explore how AI is unlocking the mysteries of the past. Decoding ancient scrolls of Herculaneum. Imagine finding ancient scrolls that have been buried and preserved for nearly 2,000 years, but no one could read them. That was the case with the Herculaneum scrolls, which were covered by the eruption of Mount Vesuvius in 79 Anno Domini. These papyrus scrolls were charred and fragile, and for centuries, attempts to unroll them only caused them to crumble into dust. But now, thanks to artificial intelligence, these scrolls are finally revealing their secrets. In 2023, a team of researchers made a groundbreaking discovery. They were able to decipher text from these ancient scrolls without ever unrolling them. The scrolls were scanned using advanced X-ray technology, and then artificial intelligence was applied to analyze the images. This technology helped them virtually unwrap the scrolls and detect the ink used to write the ancient text. The first word they uncovered was purple, a Greek word that appeared in one of the scrolls. But this was just the beginning. The researchers went on to decode over 2,000 characters from the scrolls, revealing entire passages of text that had been hidden for centuries. This text turned out to be the work of an ancient philosopher named Philodemus, who lived during the time of the Roman Empire. In his writings, Philodemus discussed ideas about pleasure and how the availability of things like food can affect our enjoyment of them. What makes this discovery so exciting is not just the fact that ancient words were uncovered, but how it happened. For the first time, researchers used artificial intelligence to read the writings on these fragile scrolls without causing any damage. This breakthrough was made possible by a competition called the Vesuvius Challenge, which encouraged scientists to develop new technologies to decode the scrolls. The winning team of this challenge, led by students from different parts of the world, applied machine learning and advanced scanning techniques to make this incredible achievement possible. Thanks to this technology, the secrets of the Herculaneum scrolls are finally being revealed. These scrolls are part of a larger library that was buried by the eruption of Mount Vesuvius, and they contain priceless knowledge from ancient times. Now, scholars and historians have the chance to study these texts in a way that was never before possible. This discovery is a perfect example of how technology, like artificial intelligence, can help us unlock the mysteries of the past. It also shows how curious minds working with the right tools can continue to make incredible breakthroughs in understanding ancient history. You might be surprised by the discovery of this ancient code. The next twist will make you rethink reality itself. Like and subscribe to know deeper into the mysteries that will blow your mind. The Voynich Manuscript. Once upon a time, there was a mysterious book called the Voynich Manuscript. This strange book is filled with colorful drawings and text that no one can understand. The writing is in a language called Voynichese, and it's so unusual that no one has been able to figure it out for centuries. The manuscript was created by hand during the early 15th century, between 1404 and 1438, and is thought to have been made in Italy during the Italian Renaissance. The Voynich manuscript is not just any old book. It has puzzled people for many years. Some think it might be written in a real language, while others believe it could be a code or even a prank. The book's first known owner was Georg Baresch, a 17th century alchemist from Prague. In 1912, a Polish book dealer named Wilfrid Voynich bought the manuscript, which is why it's named after him. Today, the Voynich manuscript is kept at Yale University's Beinecke Rare Book and Manuscript Library, where anyone can see it online. The manuscript has around 240 pages filled with strange drawings of plants, people, and stars. However, some pages are missing and no one knows what they mean. Many people, including cryptographers from both world wars, have tried to crack its code, but no one has succeeded. Researchers have also looked at the book's physical features, like its size, about 23.5 by 16.2 by 5 centimeters, and its material, beautiful vellum, animal skin. One famous person fascinated by the Voynich manuscript was Italian author Umberto Eco. He believed the book was meant to be a mystery and open to different interpretations. Today, modern technology may help solve the mystery. scientists can analyze the patterns in the manuscript's text, comparing them to languages like Latin and Italian to find hidden clues. With the help of technology, we'll one day understand what this ancient book says. AI decoded ancient cuneiform tablets. Imagine a secret message from thousands of years ago, written in a strange code that only a few people can understand. Now, picture a magical machine that instantly translates this ancient message and reveals its lost secrets. This is exactly what a team of smart scientists has created. They've developed a super smart computer program to read and translate ancient Akkadian texts. Akkadian was a language spoken in the Middle East over 5,000 years ago, and it was written using cuneiform, which looks like wedge-shaped symbols on clay tablets. It's like creating a Google Translate for a language that hasn't been spoken for millennia. Akkadian texts are precious because they contain important stories, laws, and poems from ancient times. However, the challenge is that these texts are written on fragile clay tablets, and the symbols are so complicated that only a few experts can read them. However, with the new program, translating these ancient texts has become much easier and faster. This program can translate tens of thousands of these ancient writings, opening up a world of knowledge that was once very hard to access. One of the scientists working on this project said, "The amazing thing is, I don't need to know anything about Akkadian to translate a tablet. The computer does all the work, and I can instantly discover the secrets of the past." This project started as a student idea, and now it has been published in a top scientific journal, changing the way we understand ancient history. Akkadian was an incredibly important language in the ancient world. It was used by many civilizations across the Middle East, as is the case with English being spoken in many countries today. The writing system, called cuneiform, is the oldest known form of writing. Akkadian texts are valuable because they help us understand ancient people's cultures, laws, and beliefs. Thanks to this new program, scholars can now translate these texts more quickly and accurately, giving us a better understanding of ancient civilizations. The program uses artificial intelligence, AI, to help translate the texts. Instead of just using regular photos of the tablets, the AI works with 3D models of the clay tablets. This helps the computer see the shapes and angles of the cuneiform symbols more clearly, which makes the translations more accurate. The AI also uses a special type of computer learning called neural machine translation. This means the computer doesn't just look at individual symbols, but also understands the meaning of whole words and sentences, just like a human translator would. The ancient tablets contain information about how people lived, worked, and believed thousands of years ago. With this AI program, many of the stories and secrets hidden in these ancient writings could now be unlocked. By comparing and analyzing many translated texts, researchers can make discoveries about the past that were never possible. This is just the beginning of what this technology could do. In the future, anyone with access to this program could easily explore the ancient world and understand the wisdom of civilizations that lived long ago. This AI tool is powerful and could completely change how we learn about history. It may allow people to explore ancient civilizations from the comfort of their own homes. It's an exciting time for anyone curious about our world and eager to uncover the hidden treasures of our past. Ein Gedi Scroll. In 1970, archaeologists made an exciting discovery in the ruins of an ancient synagogue in Israel. They found a charred, mysterious object that turned out to be a Bible piece written on an animal skin scroll. However, the scroll was badly damaged by fire, and no one could read it. For years, it remained a puzzling mystery. In 2015, a team led by Professor Brent Seals at the University of Kentucky devised a clever solution. They used special X-ray technology to create a 3D digital image of the scroll without even touching it. Then, they used a computer program to unwrap the scroll virtually, layer by layer, just like peeling an onion. This method revealed hidden text, the first chapter of the Book of Leviticus. This discovery was groundbreaking. It provided the oldest known copy of the Hebrew Bible after the Dead Sea Scrolls, giving us important insight into how it was written and passed down over time. The En Gedi scroll is incredibly old, dating back to the 3rd or 4th century Common Era. This discovery helped fill a gap in our understanding of the Bible's history. Despite the damage from the fire, the text on the En Gedi scroll is still very clear and readable, thanks to the advanced technology used to examine it. One of the most exciting aspects of this discovery is that the text closely matches the version of the Bible that we use today. This shows that the core of the Bible has stayed the same over the centuries. The En Gedi scroll reminds us how modern technology can unlock the secrets of the past. Even fragile, damaged artifacts can reveal valuable information about our history and faith. This discovery helps us appreciate the importance of preserving our ancient texts and understanding their history. The Dead Sea Scrolls. The Dead Sea Scrolls, also known as the Qumran Caves Scrolls, are a collection of ancient Jewish writings from the time of the Second Temple. These scrolls were found between 1946 and 1956 in caves near Ein Feshka on the Dead Sea's northern shore in the West Bank. The scrolls date back to the 3rd century before Common Era and the 1st century Common Era. They include the oldest complete copies of books that are now part of the Hebrew Bible, and other writings that didn't make it into the Bible, like the Book of Enoch and the Book of Jubilees. The scrolls also provide insight into early Christianity and Rabbinic Judaism. Most of the 15,000 fragments are stored in the Shrine of the Book at the Israel Museum in Jerusalem. However, there is a dispute between Israel, Jordan, and the Palestinian Authority about who should control the scrolls, since they were mostly discovered when Jordan controlled the West Bank and acquired by Israel after the 1967 Arab-Israeli War. The scrolls were found in 12 caves near Qumran, a Jewish settlement from the Hellenistic period. Many scrolls were damaged over time, but a few almost complete scrolls were found. Scholars have identified 981 different manuscripts. Around 40% of these are copies of Hebrew Bible texts. About 30% are non-canonical Jewish writings from the Second Temple period, and 30% are sectarian texts that describe the beliefs and rules of the community that lived in Qumran. The scrolls were written mostly in Hebrew, with some in Aramaic and Greek. The materials used for the scrolls include parchment made from animal skin, papyrus, and even a few copper plates. The scrolls were carefully preserved in clay jars in the dry, low airflow caves, which helped keep them intact for centuries. However, improper handling and storage after their discovery caused some damage. Radiocarbon dating and paleographic analysis confirm that most scrolls date from the late Second Temple period, around 200 before Common Era to 70 Common Era. Today, the Dead Sea Scrolls are important for understanding ancient Jewish life and the early history of the Bible. The Rosetta Stone. The Rosetta Stone is a dark-colored granodiorite stele inscribed with the same text in 3 scripts: Greek, hieroglyphic, and Demotic. It was discovered in 1799 by French soldiers in the town of Rosetta, modern-day El Rashid, during Napoleon's invasion of Egypt. Officer Pierre-François Xavier Bouchard recognized the significance of the Greek and hieroglyphic inscriptions, realizing that the 2 scripts likely represented a translation of the same text. The stone was named after the city where it was found. Since its discovery, the Rosetta Stone has become a symbol of both intellectual achievement and imperial struggle. Today it resides in the British Museum, symbolizing France's and Britain's imperial ambitions in the late 18th and early 19th centuries, as the 2 nations vied for dominance over colonial territories. The stone bears inscriptions on both sides that read, "Captured in Egypt by the British Army 1801, and "Presented by King George III," reflecting the historical conflict between the 2 powers. For many Egyptians, the stone represents a shared cultural and national heritage, leading some to view its removal as a colonial theft, and to advocate for its repatriation to Egypt. The trilingual inscription sparked a wave of efforts to decode the ancient script across Europe. Thomas Young, 1773-1829, and Jean-François Champollion, 1790-1832, were the first in over a millennium to decipher the Ramses and Thutmoses cartouches successfully. With his knowledge of Coptic, Champollion was the first to translate the hieroglyphic word for "to give birth," making significant strides in understanding the ancient language and its historical context. Secrets of the Timbuktu Manuscripts. The Timbuktu manuscripts, also known as the Tombouctou manuscripts, are a vast collection of historically significant texts preserved for centuries in private homes in Timbuktu, a city in northern Mali. These manuscripts include works on various subjects, such as art, medicine, philosophy, science, and copies of the Quran. They are the most famous and recognized collection of West African manuscripts, written in Arabic and several African languages using the Ajami script. The manuscripts include Fula, Songhay, Tamashek, Bambara, and Soninka, among others. These texts span a long period, ranging from the late 13th century to the early 20th century, covering the time from the Islamization of the Mali Empire to the decline of traditional education in French Sudan. The subject matter of these manuscripts is diverse, ranging from scholarly works to brief letters. Following the decline of the Mali Empire, the manuscripts were preserved in the homes of Timbuktu's residents. Efforts to research and digitize the manuscripts began in the 20th and 21st centuries to safeguard them for future generations. The manuscripts and other cultural heritage in Mali faced grave danger during the Mali War. Between 2012 and 2013, Islamist militants from the group Ansar Dine burned or stole 4,203 of Timbuktu's manuscripts. Despite this, approximately 350,000 manuscripts were moved to safety, with 300,000 still located in Bamako, Mali by 2022. Among the earliest works preserved in the manuscripts are translations of significant figures such as Plato, Hippocrates, and Avicenna. Additionally, scribes reproduced a comprehensive 28-volume Arabic dictionary called the Mukam, written by an Andalusian scholar in the 11th century. Timbuktu is also home to original texts created by local scholars, including scientists, historians, philosophers, and poets. Legal experts in the city compiled works on Islamic jurisprudence, or fiqh, and the rules surrounding giving alms, or zakat. Timbuktu's astronomers were highly skilled, creating detailed charts of the stars and diagrams of planetary orbits based on complex mathematical calculations. Notably, they documented a meteor shower in 1593, describing it as follows. In the year 991, in God's month of Rajab, after half the night had passed, stars flew around as if the fire had been kindled in the whole sky, east, west, north, and south. It became a nightly flame lighting up the earth, and people were extremely disturbed. It continued until after dawn. Physicians recorded valuable knowledge about nutrition and the therapeutic properties of desert plants. Ethicists also engaged in debates over issues such as polygamy, moneylending, and slavery. Some manuscripts cataloged mystical practices, including spells, astrology, fortune-telling, and necromancy. A manuscript titled Advising Men on Sexual Engagement with Their Women served as a guide on aphrodisiacs, infertility remedies, and techniques to enhance sexual pleasure. It offered advice during a time when women's sexuality was largely overlooked in the West. During the northern Mali conflict, Ansar Dine rebels destroyed or looted numerous manuscripts, including those housed in the Ahmed Baba Institute and a local library. However, 90% of the manuscripts were preserved thanks to local efforts, coordinated by the NGO Sauvegarde et Valorisation des Manuscrits pour la Défense de la Culture Islamique, SAVAMA DCI. By 2022, approximately 350,000 manuscripts had been moved to safety, with 300,000 still stored in Bamako, ensuring that Timbuktu's rich scholarly heritage endures. Dunhuang manuscripts. The Dunhuang manuscripts are an amazing collection of over 60,000 pieces of writing that give us a unique look into the life and culture of medieval China. These manuscripts were discovered by accident and show the rich diversity of the people who lived along the Silk Road, the famous trade route that connected China to many other parts of the world. Unlike a traditional library, the Dunhuang manuscripts are a mix of many texts used in the city of Dunhuang for over 600 years. Most manuscripts are Buddhist texts, as about 90% of the books are sacred scriptures from Buddhist temples. However, there are also many other types of writings in the collection. Some texts were used in local schools, while others were from private libraries, government offices, or merchants who passed through Dunhuang. The manuscripts offer a fascinating snapshot of life in the medieval city and reveal much about the culture and daily life of the people there. The Dunhuang collection includes many different kinds of texts. There are versions of traditional histories and lesser-known versions of history that were not found elsewhere. Biographies, military histories, and textbooks were also used to teach history in local schools. The diversity of these texts shows that people from many different social classes with different levels of education use these writings. For example, some writings were created by scribes in the imperial court to promote Buddhist teachings, while others were used in local schools to teach children how to write. People with limited literacy even used some texts to help them participate in legal and religious activities. Dunhuang was not only a place where Chinese culture thrived, but also a meeting point for many different cultures. This is reflected in the languages used in the manuscripts. While most texts were written in Chinese, manuscripts were written in other languages spoken by people from Central Asia. Around 8,000 manuscripts were written in Tibet, showing that Dunhuang was a multilingual city for many years after Tibet became powerful in the region. Other languages used include Uyghur, an ancient Turkic language, and Khotanese, an ancient Iranian language. The Dunhuang manuscripts also provide information about everyday life. They show how land was surveyed and taxed, how local populations were counted, and how practices sometimes differed from what was officially written in the law. Dunhuang was a small city, but it had many government offices and Buddhist temples that held much power and played an important role in producing and sharing these texts. The book Dunhuang Manuscripts focuses on these fascinating writings and is meant for general readers, students, and teachers who may not know Chinese or have access to the original texts. It provides a detailed overview of the manuscripts, explaining their content and significance in Chinese history and the Silk Road. The book is easy to read and includes many illustrations to help readers understand the material. It's designed for people unfamiliar with medieval China, but curious about the cultures that interacted along the Silk Road. The Indus Valley Script. The Indus script, also known as the Harappan script, is a set of symbols created by the people of the Indus Valley civilization, which existed over 4,000 years ago. These symbols have been found on various objects, like seals, ceramics, and other artifacts. However, since the inscriptions are usually short, it's hard to know whether the symbols represent a language used by the Harappan people or if they were part of a writing system. One major challenge in understanding the Indus script is that no bilingual inscriptions exist. We don't have the script alongside a language we already understand as we do with the Rosetta Stone for Egyptian hieroglyphs. This makes it very difficult to decode the symbols. The first known illustration of the script was made by Alexander Cunningham in 1875. By 1992, around 4,000 objects with Indus script inscriptions had been discovered, some as far away as Mesopotamia, suggesting there were contacts between these two ancient civilizations. Some researchers believe the Indus script might be connected to other ancient scripts. For example, Raymond Alchin suggested that the Brahmi script, one of the earliest Indian scripts, could be related to the Indus system. There are also theories that the script might be linked to the Dravidian languages spoken in parts of southern India and Sri Lanka today. Most inscriptions were on small objects like seals and pottery, which were easy to carry. These seals often measured just a few centimeters across. Surprisingly, no inscriptions have been found on perishable materials like paper or wood, which could have been used by the Indus people but haven't survived. The script includes over 400 symbols, but researchers believe it wasn't purely phonetic, meaning each symbol didn't represent a sound like letters in modern alphabets. Instead, it may have been a logosyllabic system, where some symbols represented entire words or syllables. Interestingly, 67 symbols are used most often, accounting for 80% of the inscriptions. Most experts think the script was written from right to left, although there are a few examples where it was written left to right, or in a pattern known as baustrophedon, where the direction alternates from line to line. Despite all the research, the Indus script remains undeciphered, leaving a mystery about the language and culture of the ancient Indus Valley people. The Code of Hammurabi. Hammurabi was the 6th king of the Babylonian dynasty, ruling over central Mesopotamia from 1894 to 1595 before Common Era. His name combines words from two cultures, Amorite, which means family, and Akkadian, which means great. During his reign, Hammurabi expanded his kingdom by defeating neighboring areas like Assyria, Larsa, Eshuna, and Mari, eventually controlling all of Mesopotamia. Hammurabi was not only a military leader, but also a builder. He worked on irrigation systems, built castles, and constructed temples dedicated to Marduk, the god of Babylon. Although the ancient city of Babylon is now buried under the ground, many clay tablets from other sites tell us about Hammurabi's leadership and ideas. One of his most famous achievements is the Code of Hammurabi, a set of 282 laws carved into a large stone stele. These laws were designed to provide justice and order in society. The laws are written in an if-then format and cover topics like marriage, contracts, and rules for everyday life. The code also introduced the idea of an eye for an eye, meaning punishment should match the crime. For example, a doctor would be paid more for treating a wealthy person than a freedman or an enslaved person, and doctors who made serious mistakes would face penalties based on their patient's social class. The Code of Hammurabi is one of the earliest examples of written laws and shows how Hammurabi wanted to create fairness in his kingdom. As we continue to explore the ancient codes, we uncover evidence of lost civilizations and long-forgotten cultures, urging us to explore history's hidden corners. Each new discovery challenges our understanding of ancient peoples and their remarkable achievements. The mystery surrounding these manuscripts only grows, inviting us to unlock more of their secrets. Who knows what hidden truths lie waiting to be discovered as we continue our journey through time?